Hello, everyone. I'm Reiki Master Sharon, and today I'm here with Ashley Odenhal again for part two of Meeting of the Minds about authenticity. So, Ashley, would you go ahead and say hi to everyone for us, please?
Hello, my friends. I'm so excited that you are coming back to witness what we are about to say. I have no idea what's going to come up, but I'm really excited where this is going to lead. So I'm excited that you're joining us. So welcome.
Thank you, Ashley. And today we're going to kind of pick up where we left off with this idea of obligation within authenticity. So, like being authentic within obligations that we have to other people, whether this be a job or a relationship or, anything like that, where we can kind of feel sometimes like other people's projections of what they want us to do or want us to be can conflict with things that we want to do with our own energy.
I love this topic.
Yeah. Is there anything that's coming up for you, Ashley, that you'd like to share?
Literally, and I'm like writing it down so I don't forget it because I don't want to cut you off. So the first thing I thought of as you were talking, I'm like, how we show up. Like it's all in how regardless of who the person is that we're showing up for, it's how we show up. And then that's what matters. So that's what kept coming up for me as you were talking. I'm like, hold on, wait, this is important.
Aw. Yes, I think it is very important how we show up for ourselves, especially because, for me in my journey, I could see myself showing up more for others because I had trouble showing up for myself. And that dynamic became very toxic for me until became aware of it. So this can look like, people pleasing tendencies and things like that, where we're kind of it's like that. Have you ever heard people refer to this as like the mommy code and anxiety, where like you can't do the thing, but if someone else wants it, that you need it, that and you love, then you do it for them because
Because you're capable. But so
yeah.
I've never heard the term before, but that completely, I know exactly what you're talking about. Absolutely. Because it's like, well, of course I could do like if it's like making your bed or something like that, like I and my sister needed her bed made or something like where, oh shoot, I need to get out here so I can get like basically like a hypothetical situation. This has never happened. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like you're trying to help somebody else out, so you're gonna do the thing for them, even though you're neglecting the thing on your side of the room.
Right.
Oh my
Yeah. So
god, there's a word for that.
I just seen it on a Facebook post, so I don't know if it's an actual thing, but it's like, you know,
One of
kind of
those
like,
things that's being thrown like basically it's at least a word. I'm trying to think of, I know it's called something, it's like urban dictionary or whatever it is, like
yeah.
basically slang or whatever, but I'm not thinking of the correct word right now, but anyways, carry on.
Yeah, so like if you notice that you're doing things for other people instead of yourself, I think that's a good indication that maybe we can do reflection within and say, why am I not showing up for myself in this way, but it's so easy for me to show up for other people in that way? Is I
I
think that,
love this
yeah,
so much. Like this is something that takes forever, I feel like, to learn. So us having this conversation, hopefully we'll be able to at least like strike awareness or like something like where if someone's like thinking, "Oh wow, this resonates." Like this is so awesome that we're having this conversation.
yeah. So like to be a little bit more clear of what I'm talking about here is like, say we're at a restaurant and I really want ketchup, but I don't want to get up to get ketchup for myself. But you say, I would really like some ketchup for my burger, but I'm afraid to go get it because I don't want people to look at me. And then all of a sudden, I have an urge to go get it for you because I
Mm.
know how that feels and I don't want you to feel like you have to be put in that position. But in doing it for you, I'm able to do it for you and well, that gives me an opportunity to go get the ketchup for myself too, you know?
Yeah. So would that be something that is a positive thing to do?
I would say that it's positive, but to be aware of the dynamic. Does
Okay,
that
so
make
that's where
sense?
I was getting at too. Is like, yeah, like I would think that if you're gonna get the ketchup, like basically you're trying. The goal would be to get to the point to if you want the ketchup, just go get the ketchup. I would think
Yeah.
that that's the goal. So if you're getting it for the other person, great, awesome. You're also doing yourself a favor just since you happen to want the ketchup too. But
Yeah.
like, I think the goal is to get to that point of, hey, I'm just gonna go get the ketchup anyways. Like that's super nice that you want to be a good person and help the person, but and get the urge. Yes, okay.
Yeah. So I think this comes back to the whole concept of inner child healing too, because when we start doing this work, we get to a point where we've done so much work to kind of undo everything that's happened to us that we become protective with ourselves. And
Yeah,
we get to a point where, if someone is intruding on our boundaries, our energetic
which we
boundaries,
very carefully set up back in whenever they were very needed. Maybe they
yeah,
need to be reevaluated from time to time.
yeah. But, when you're trying to establish those after neglecting them for so long, they can feel very sharp. They can feel very like you're just attacking someone
Yeah.
instead of, protecting yourself. And that can make you feel guilty. And I feel like once we become aware of that dynamic, then we can kind of show up for ourselves more authentically to say, I need this. And it's okay for me to go get it. It doesn't matter what someone else thinks of me, what they expect of me, if they're judging me, because why should I have to go without the ketchup just because I'm worried about what somebody else is going to think of me or if they're watching me when they're probably not even going to remember who I am in 2 seconds.
Right. I
You
think
know?
that I truly think that like in our heads, and there's a term for it also, is that we are thinking that the world's paying more attention than it is. Like the external people, like it's okay. I promise, like I wear veneers and I challenged myself to go to the store without them. And I'm like, and I was like, okay, I'm not self conscious. My fear is that I'm gonna look at someone and be like, oh hey, boom, and then they're gonna be like, oh, like terrified at the monster that they see in their face,
Aw.
but like honestly though, because like I'm like, it's just not pretty. So I'm like, okay, I have my veneers, like so I did wear like I put makeup on, went to the store without them, and like I took a video of it, and so I have the video somewhere. But like I was so proud of myself. I was like, I didn't scare anybody. Everyone was nice to me, and
Mhm.
I had positive interactions, and like I talked like this a little bit, but like anyways, like it's very very refreshing to be able to challenge yourself, to be able to do those things, because like intuitively, not intuitively, but like um inside myself instinctually, like whatever the like my vocabulary is not good today, my god.
That's
um
okay.
Basically I feel like I don't want to scare people. I don't want anybody to be uncomfortable by me showing up. So I think that there's work for me to do here, which is like thank you, because I'm like, oh yeah, like I love living in the authentic power, but like no, this is I'm glad you brought up this topic because it just puts another layer of hey, it's not just about being living in that place of like you connected to God. It's also about being authentic in these relationships and these obligations.
Yeah, and I think it's great that you're doing that work and making those realizations. I mean, that's very powerful for people to even see you making those realizations too, because I'm sure there are people who are watching who may feel the same resonance.
Oh, I hope
And
so. Like just in the sense that I hope that I'm not just like throwing out words and I'm just like, okay, these like I'm like, what the heck are you even talking about? You
no,
know?
I understand completely because, there sometimes is kind of like a knee-jerk reaction that people get when they're expecting to see something that they don't see. And
Yeah,
I don't think that has anything to do with you being a monster or you being like ugly or it not being pretty. It's more so that there is just something that they weren't expecting.
I like that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and so it's kind of like just you just immediately like if you're not expecting it, then their own brain goes into whatever processing it's doing.
Yeah.
That makes
So
sense.
I think, like, the confidence that you have or that you're cultivating and putting yourself in those positions more where, you're going out, you're being nice, and you're, being yourself authentically is great. And, veneers or not, I still love you. I still think you're
Oh,
beautiful. So
thank you. I love you too. And I will wear them around the house. Like I'll walk around. It's just my two front teeth next to. I have two front teeth, and then the two next to them just never grow in. It's called something again. My grandpa had it. Madonna has it. Like it's very popular, and I feel like there was a show that like with the past few years where the main character like always had a retainer, and that was me all throughout high school. And then all of a sudden, she shaves her head and she takes out that retainer, and I'm like, "You go, girl!" Like she was herself and she was loving it. And I was just like, yes.
yes. So I think, like, what I struggled with the most was, there's a point in our journey where we know that God has something bigger for us. We know that there's something, a higher calling for us to do, something that's more aligned with us.
Hmm.
And I think it's very important to have the words to express that to the people around you and the people that you may have certain agreements with,
Yeah.
you
Like
know?
just even in this conversation without me being able to say that, like it's very challenging. And so that gives the power of like when people like get diagnoses and stuff, like not to attach fully to that as being you, but to be able to identify and have a word to explain it. So then you can use it to then give it more context and be like, okay, it's like this, but not,
Yeah.
you can give it a
So it's
relation
like,
to something.
yeah, you can have words to have it so that people can understand what you're feeling within yourself.
Yeah.
So, like, when I was sick with COVID and I decided to go back to massage school because, I was sick for a very long time, I felt like God saved me for a reason. I felt like being where I was safe and it was secure, but I wasn't living up to my full potential.
Right.
And I felt like if God saved me for a reason, I owed it to him to step into that.
I love that.
So that's why I decided to take that risk. I wasn't sure how it was going to happen. I didn't know where I was going to go. I didn't know how I was going to pay for it, but I made that effort and God made a way.
I love that.
And I tried to hold on to it for a little while. I tried to do both while I was going to school and trying to, because I had to have some kind of income.
Right.
The way that it worked out was definitely divinely led because I don't even know how I managed to keep my position the way that I did, besides the fact that I was such a good worker and I had been there for so long. But
Because you are such a good worker and you had been there for so long. You know what I mean? Though, like you got to that place of having that trust within people, like for them to rely on you and know, hey, she's gonna show up, she's doing her best, like so you
yeah,
had gotten to that place, and then you always have God, like, hey, yeah, of course, Sharon, here you go, but
yeah.
like
They're
especially
like,
like
we
uh,
just want you to be here as much as you can.
right? Like, but then all of a sudden it could be the same company and then they change, but it's God leading the way of like, hold on, wait, no, say what I want you to say so that we can get Sharon where she's supposed to go because wherever that is, let's get her there.
Yeah, but there came a point where it became too chaotic for me to stay there. Same with in my marriage.
Yeah.
And I feel like those are the indicators that God gives us to say, you know, this was meant for a season, but it wasn't meant for you to stay here.
So do
You,
you think that, sorry to cut you off, do you think that that's kind of like when there's chaos going on and which had if there's a situation going on like within work or something and there's just like a lot of chaos that's outside the norm. It's not like growth chaos, like where it's like for a longer amount of time. Do you think that's a sign of like, hey, I should kind of evaluate what's going on and see if there's something more that I should be doing? Like, is that something that we always have to look back in hindsight to see? Or is there a way in the learning process to kind of be like, oh, this kind of seems a little chaotic. I don't resonate with this energy. Where should I go from here?
yeah, I think so. I think, there comes a point where things become too chaotic. Things are always constantly changing. Businesses go out of business. You really have to evaluate what you're putting your energy into as a company, as a relationship, is it going where you want to go, or is it not adapting to what your needs are?
I love that. I love that
You know?
response. Thank you. I feel like that question was out of nowhere. And I was like, okay, answer me, Sharon. Riddle me this. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, like, for me, I had to decide, is this worth what I'm doing, or should I be making that leap now into something else when I started massage therapy? So I decided, like, hey, I've seen these patterns before. It didn't end well for me when I ignored them. So
Yep.
I'm going to pay attention. And I went and had a conversation with my boss, and I was like, hey, you know, I feel like I need to put in my 2 weeks. You know, I appreciate working with you, and I'm just going to, start putting more energy into being a massage therapist now. And, they were very open to that. And, he was kind of like, if you want to come back, you can,
I love
you
that.
know. So he understood. And I was able to communicate that and move out of that situation before it became detrimental. But like in the situation with my marriage, that became detrimental because I didn't listen to those tugs of it being chaotic,
Yeah.
and it just kept knocking harder because I kept resisting it, I kept pushing it down, I kept ignoring it, like, "Oh, no, it's fine, everything's on fire," like, kinda like that little dog in the house with everything on fire, you know?
Yeah, 100%. And then you realize like it starts like intensifying. And so that might be the cue is when the chaos intensifies, when it doesn't get better with your normal strategies. That's when there might be something to at least have a conversation with maybe a therapist or just with yourself of like, you kind of look into it, maybe like that's huge. Like I just love where your mind goes and I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too, and I think, like, there's a point where we have to ask ourselves, is this authentically who I am? Are
Yeah,
these people that I'm around resonating with the energy that I'm embodying? You get what I'm saying?
I
Like,
do.
I watch a energy reader named Steve from Steve's Love Tarot on YouTube,
Okay.
and he was talking about a transit where I kind of lost what my train of thought where I was going with this.
He's on YouTube. My
Yes.
ADHD is just like, you know what? Well, we can talk about something else. Let's talk about YouTube.
So basically, he was saying, okay, now I remember. He said, you might be in situations where you find yourself friends with, as a extreme example, puppy killers.
Okay.
And then you might be like, why do I feel attracted to be friends with people who are killing puppies? And why are they attracted to me? And do I really want to hang out with these kind of people? Are they showing me, is this the kind of energy that I'm embodying or projecting,
Yeah.
kind of thing? And I think there comes a point where that veil kind of comes up where we can kind of see through it, and we're like, out of our obligation, we might stay connected to these kinds of people because we feel like we need to, or that we've made a commitment.
Yep.
But there's a point where we have to go, am I really a puppy killer though?
Yeah. Is it really worth the salary where, yeah, for the livelihood? However, is there maybe a better way? Is there something else out there? Yeah, completely. Like, do the puppy killer friends are giving me money though. Okay, well, let's go find some people that will give us money that are not killing puppies. Can we
Right.
do that? But I completely resonate with this, like, because it's that stuck feeling of like when you're at the job for too long and you want out, but it's like, hold on, wait, but they're providing me income, like, yeah, and so that's like it's that fear, and it's real, it's very 3D, it's very real, and it's like it's not to be taken lightly. It's very very real.
Yeah, and I think that it's important to, in those moments, remember that we are divinely protected,
Yeah,
and that if we really decide that our energy deserves more than that, that the energy of the creator is going to rise to meet that, and to and facilitate something for us that's better, because I've seen a lot of people, that will stay stuck in relationships or in situations that are very detrimental to their health and to their well-being because for one, they don't know how to communicate what they're feeling. They don't know how to communicate that they want something else. They don't know how to really drop within and ask themselves, do I deserve better? Or cultivate a healthier relationship with themselves where they do believe that they deserve better. I
Hmm.
think, on a subconscious level, sometimes we say that we love ourselves and that we deserve better, but our energy isn't projecting that.
That
You get
makes
what I'm saying?
sense. Yeah, and when you were saying those things like that they don't know, it just brought me back to something that I always say that I started saying once I started doing like intentional self growth is that I don't know what I don't know, which doesn't mean I'll never know it. It just means that that allows me to get curious and say, okay, well, what do I want to know? And then, but like when I had lost my job, I didn't know what it looked like on the outside. Like I didn't know that there was other opportunities. I haven't like I didn't know what it looked like to publish a book before you had done it and said, "Hey, it's possible. Come on, Ashley. Here's the first step. Just go, go, go." You know what I mean? Like where you don't know what you don't know, and that is amazing because you're able to learn. But it does take getting curious and figuring out. Hold on, wait. There's more. I don't know what it is, but there's more. And then you're led the questions. You'll get downloads from God, or source, or whatever you believe in. You'll start getting those nudges, but it's leaning into saying, I don't know what I don't know, or whatever phrasing of that, and being curious to get the
Yeah.
answers.
Yeah, I love that. I think
Thank you.
it's very beneficial for us to become curious and to become inspired. Like, I'm so happy that I was able to inspire you to create your own book.
Yeah,
Like,
something I've always wanted to do, and I wanted it to be low stakes, like for this
mhm.
one. And so you were just like, yeah. So yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you, but like, I'm like, you helped me fulfill a dream, like a lifelong dream of being an author. Like that's
Aw.
huge. Like that was you. So thank you.
Oh, it was you though. It was
I
you.
get that. I get that it wouldn't be there if I didn't do the work. I get that. I just appreciate you so much. Like, and I know that I like you're not like wanting to be like, hey, praise me, you do the work, but like it so helps to have the support and to have a friend alongside you that isn't judging and isn't like it's encouraging. So much encouragement of course you can. Okay, cool. You didn't do that. Awesome. It's not a big deal. Like you can we can do it tomorrow. You're fine. Like it's just so much
Yeah.
encouragement. I completely cut you off as I always do. But
No, you're fine. Thank you for that, Ashley. And
oh, of
I think
course.
that it's so. I really appreciate that dynamic of our relationship too. That we're able to encourage each other and not have that pressure because at the end of the day, I mean, what is guilt and shame really going to get you to accomplish? I mean, you woke up today and you were given another opportunity to step into who you want to be, and
Yeah.
that's a huge gift. You
Yeah.
know, so I think that's something that sometimes we take for granted is that every day that we wake up, we have an opportunity to make a shift into a higher perspective, into something that's more aligned with us and who we are and what we want for ourselves. And it's not selfish to want something that's good for you. And I think that was something that I really struggled with within expressing my own authenticity was being able to say, okay, my heart isn't in this anymore.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more selfish for me to act like it is,
Yeah. I
you
like
know?
right. Like it's not doing anybody any favors. It's not being true to the person that you're with. It's not, yeah, it's just you're acting as if and not in the good way. Like
Yeah.
not in the way that they're like, hey, act like
Yeah.
you're that person.
Hmm. Yeah. Because I mean, there are certain things that you just can't force,
Right.
you know? And sometimes like I was saying before in the other video, like you get to a point where that's just not fitting you. It's not who you are anymore.
Yeah,
It's
and it's
not.
so exhausting to pretend like it is.
Right. And that goes for a job too. That's why so many people are miserable in the careers and things that they make or that they're in. And I feel like a lot of people feel stuck because they don't feel like they have the resources or the opportunity to do something better or do what they want. But I just want to encourage people to think of and look for opportunities to where that might show up for you, in ways that you don't experience or don't expect. Because God works out of the laws of our logical mind. And sometimes He presents us things that we didn't even think that we'd be able to do. Like, for instance, us writing our books.
Right.
I would have never thought that I would be able to go on Amazon and self-publish a book and not have to pay for a publisher or get
That's
approved.
where, right, like the not having to pay for that whole part, taking out all of the risk, like it's so like hold on, wait, what? Like this exists? Like it's
Yeah.
crazy to me.
Mhm. And just like when, you were applying for that grant and for your school and things, you didn't know that that
Yeah.
program existed.
Right, like literally like getting, and then I'm on my second course now. I've counted. I have 30 courses I want to get done by October 2025. So there's 30 courses. It is now at like May 7th. I believe. Yeah, and I'm just hoping that within the next 6 months I can knock this out, and I'm on course 2. I started May 1st. Um so we'll see how it goes.
Could you explain to everyone kind of like what happened in that situation, like what it would have looked like and how it ended up unfolding for you?
So I have my provisional license with Virginia for my teaching license. So basically, I'm able to work in the Virginia school. So I work in a middle school as if I'm like certified to be a teacher because I got in through one of the pathways of taking a special education course and then doing the next steps of applying to get the provisional license. So I got that. So I'm allowed to work in the schools. With that, I need to be able to get all of my certification stuff as if I'm the teacher, like basically get all that stuff within the next, I believe it's 2 years. It might be like you could probably extend it a year if you still needed to work on it, but it needs to be approved. Anyways, so I have until 2027. However, I'm like, okay, the master's is like a pay increase. And I just wanted to get it done sooner. And so I started like where I've taken 2 classes through a cohort where a good amount of it was paid for by my division. The first course was 100% paid for, and the second course was 50% paid for. So that was huge. But so the next step would be just me paying for it unless I applied for more stuff from the school. I ended up just doing research, and we had to. The next course was going to be me going in person each week. Some weeks were going to be online, but it was going to be for 4 hours at a time. And the last course I had taken was an in-person one where some of them were online, but then some you had to meet in person. It just was a long process after working all day and then still having a family at home. Like it's just like I was like, there's got to be a better option. So I started doing research and found Western Governors University, made sure that I could get my license through them, like my master's through them, and then get certified and all of that, like a licensed I'm not even saying the right words, educator. Um, Basically I'll be able to get whatever I need to satisfy the provisional license with Virginia through this other program. And I just need to continue doing the steps to do it. And the end. We are here now on course 2. I started within the past week, and it's self-paced. And I can just go through it hyper focus. And then if you do an assessment, like I turned in 3 assessments for the first course. I got one back that was like, good job, you passed it. And then the 2 other ones, it came back of literally feedback of what I could do to improve it. So then I submitted it again. I'm waiting to see back, but it's going to be each time like specific information of how I can get better. And like,
Awesome.
if I would have had that elementary school through high school, my God, my life would just be like, I feel like it would have saved a lot of these steps.
Right. And I think it's so great that you took it upon yourself to be like, there's got to be a better way.
There
You
has
didn't
to be,
get
right? Like, I'm like,
you
it's
didn't
2025. Like, no, I'm not the only one that wants this. Like, oh, I'm so unique. Like, no, I'm unique in the sense that I'm human and like I have my own fingerprints. Like, cool, but we all have the same universal feelings.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
I think the fact that you didn't give up and you decided to keep looking for something else, a better alternative that was more suited and more aligned with how you learn and what fits your lifestyle is why that was able to manifest and materialize within your life.
Thank
And,
you.
that is what I'm saying is that, like, these things happen and we kind of don't even realize like how often they happen because there's so much societal programming that tells us that things are supposed to be a struggle and I
Yeah.
don't really think that they need
What's that
to.
all about? Like, no,
Yeah.
thank you. Can we like get rid of that? Like, thought process, like, no, everything's like, typically, I mean, we already said like when there's a chaos like and it intensifies, that means that things probably aren't going great. Okay. So no, everything shouldn't be a struggle. When things are going good, it should be good. It should be
Yeah,
good. You should be feeling good. You should be happy. You should be laughing. You should be
yeah,
allowed to be laughing. You should have permission to laugh if you want to laugh. Let's say it that
right.
way. If you want
Hmm.
to laugh, laugh.
Yes, and I think there comes a point where we almost feel trapped in some of the agreements that we make with other people because we don't want to like let them down or
Yeah,
to
I feel
hurt
like it's
them.
100% trapped because it's like you care so much. Like we both are very empathetic. Like where I can see until like if you're anything like me, which I believe we're very similar, like I was very much a people pleaser and still like I see it like where I'm working on it still. Like because I feel like it's like you care so much and you want everybody to not hurt and like like you don't want anybody to feel the shame and the guilt and like the stuff that you've worked so hard to come over, but then so it's like you don't want them to hurt. And in that, it's the other thing of like kind of giving your power or like yourself away. Like it starts being like where you're dating somebody and then you're like, I don't really even remember like I like to do or like what I used to like to do for fun. It's always what they like to go to concerts or they like to do this. And so I just tag along, like where it's like you start forgetting who you are.
Yeah, you can really lose yourself in that, and I have myself. And I think it's important for us to shift into a mindset where we kind of know that it's self-honoring and loving to other people to put ourselves and our needs first
Yeah.
as well, because we can't pour from an empty cup. And the only person that can make you happy is you.
100%. And it shouldn't be
And
his responsibility other than yours because it takes away from your original essence of the power that you hold within yourself.
right. And I think a lot of times we try to make other people happy so that we don't have to feel the pain of them being hurt, but then it makes us unhappy. So it's like this huge cycle of pain for and disappointment for everyone involved.
Yeah. That made me think of that book, the Mel Robbins book, The Let Them Theory, of just like that cycle of like, okay, then let them feel or say what they want to say, then let me take ownership for what I need to see if that's something I'm going to allow to continue to happen. Like it kind of gives the pause. All right, let them show their true colors. Let me respond how I need to. So that
Exactly.
really that really connected, and I know we've talked about that in the past, like not recorded, but I know we've mentioned that book before.
Yeah. And I think that is very important to be able to, say like this isn't me anymore. This isn't
Yeah,
making me happy. I think for me, I really respect somebody who can tell me what it is and then give me an opportunity to say whether or not I'm okay with it or not. But
yeah,
if you're hiding it from me, if you're not showing me that you're unhappy, you're not telling me that you're unhappy, you're not telling me that you'd rather be somewhere else, then I can't really act accordingly.
yeah. That other person's like they could be thinking that they're living their authentic self, And then
Mhm.
they're like, hold on, wait, why is this person not responding the way they used to, or whatever? Like, I've been myself the whole time.
Right. And I think, kind of cultivating more of a secure attachment style within ourselves is really how we kind of navigate that better by saying, I'm whole within myself. I'm always loved because I love myself. I'm always, I'm not rejected because I don't reject myself,
I love
you
that.
know, and that is where we kind of need to uh, like analyze where we're rejecting ourselves. Where are
I
we not
like
showing up for
you
ourselves?
spotlight on that. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, because I mean, if you say somebody invites you to a party and you've worked all day and you are just miserable, you want to lay down, don't have your social batteries are depleted, but you don't want to let your friend down because you know that
That
they
you're
really
gonna be
want you to
there.
be there, you know, you could push yourself to go and you could, appease them by showing up. Or you could choose to show up for yourself and say, I am not feeling this right now.
Yeah, it's
And
just gonna
have
drain
that
you more.
honest conversation with your friend and be like, listen, I would love to show up for you, but right now I need to rest. If
Yeah,
I show up, I'm going to be completely miserable. I wish I would love to join you next time, but tonight is not going to happen. You know
I
what I
feel like
mean?
yeah, I feel like that's like so it sucks in the moment to get those messages, but it's so like you have so much respect in the moment too, where you're like, oh, I'm so glad that they trust me enough as a friend to be honest with me. It makes you value the friendship a lot more where they are straightforward with you and they don't have to sugarcoat anything. It's like, oh, thank God that they're just real with me. And I feel like it's very it's got to feel like therapeutic to have that. Like even though you're being let down, you're not going to have the person at the party, your friendship's deeper because they were open with you to say, hey, I'm not going to be able to be there. I want to be there. This isn't an excuse. This is what's going on. Like not take it or leave it, but like, hey, here's what's going on. And then somebody that truly cares about you is going to say, yeah, or that's emotionally mature enough is going to be like, yeah, like absolutely.
Right. And, that also gives you an opportunity to reevaluate the friendships and relationships that you have because how they
Absolutely.
respond to you is going to give you an indicator of how much they respect you too,
Right.
you know? So, and there are ways that you can go about it to where you can make them feel abandoned as well. So, like,
Right.
say you just didn't show up and you didn't say anything to them, they're going to feel like, how do they even care that I had a party? You know?
Right. Like just not even. So basically, it's making sure that you're. I like that because it's like if you have a friend, obviously you want to be there. Instead of having to show up, at least reach out, at least be honest, at least say what's going on. You don't really have to go, even though you said you did, like, or that you told yourself you're going to, or that you told them you're going to. Honor yourself. Send the message out though, make a phone call, do the thing to make sure that your sincerity is actually received rather than appearing as if you're blowing it off because it could appear that way if you didn't take that step.
Right. So I think it's cultivating that within your relationships as well, not just with yourself, but with the people around you, to where you're honoring their feelings and their time, but you're also honoring your own feelings and time. So then you can say, hey, I wanted to come today. That's why I RSVP'd, but
Yeah,
today I really just can't. And I hope to see you next time. That way they know that you acknowledge that they were having a pull on your energy. You respect their energy,
yeah,
but you also respect yourself enough not to show up and be miserable because, who wants to have someone at their party that's just sitting in there in the corner, just grumpy?
moping. Yeah, no, go home.
Yeah, go home and take a nap.
I
Get
was
out
gonna
of
say
here.
take a nap or go to the guest room and take a nap. Like turn the fan on, go take a nap, and then come regroup with us. Like
Yeah.
I would like. I feel like hold on, wait. I won't tell them to go home. They can go take a nap somewhere, just not in this space.
Right. So do you have anything else to add to that?
I feel like we had a great conversation and I love chatting with you always. And I'm excited for next time. You're like
Aw,
when but like just whenever we reconnect, I'm really excited and I love you so much.
me too. And I love you so much. And I can't wait for our next meeting of the minds. If you ever have, a topic that want to talk about, send me a message, okay?
Sounds good. Thank you. I'm so glad that we wrapped up part 2 though. That was
Yes,
amazing that
me too.
we followed through. I did it.
Yes.
You did it.
You did
Woohoo.
it. Yes, always celebrate your wins.
Yeah. Thank you so much, girl.
Yes, thank you too. If you guys like this content, please like, share, and subscribe. We'd love to see you next time. And have a great day.